Hi guys, let's do brow tips and use our brow palette today. Show you all my tips on how to do brows, and especially with this palette because it can kind of be an intimidating palette when you look at it, but I'll explain what it all means. But I'm going to start with some eye primer. It's really important to use some primer. It kind of gives that powder from the palette, or when you're using eyeshadow or anything like that, it kind of gives us something to stick to make it most pigmented without using too much product. I'm just going to do a little bit, actually that might be way too much. I'm just going to do this brow right now, so I'm just going to do the one so you can see the difference in the power of a brow, because I have like no brows to start with, so we gotta put some there. But it gives it something to stick to, helps it last all day, everything like that. So now I'm going to use a spoolie. The spoolie end, this is the liner, brow liner. This is the spoolie end, just to kind of brush it out, brush that primer through it, and then now we're going to go through with the palette. Let me just kind of explain briefly what all the parts of the palette is. So there's the three different palettes too. This is the blonde palette, then there's brunette and dark brunette. So these two colors are the only ones that change in all the palettes. The other colors look exactly the same in all of them, okay? So these two powders are a lighter and darker brow color powder. These are two creams for highlight. I'll be showing you how I use them today. And then this is wax. I don't personally use this, but if you have very stubborn hairs that don't kind of want to go the direction you want to go, put a little bit of this. It's semi-clear, just has a little bit of coloring, and put it on top of your brows after you do your brows, and it keeps them in place, especially if they're stubborn and want to go a different direction. You can always put that on and then brush them through the direction you want to with like the spoolie end. But we're going to be using the brow artist brush with the flat side and the angled side. The angled side is going to be for coloring my brows, and the flat side is going to be for under my brows. So I'm just going to start with the light color. The lighter of the two colors, get some on my brush, and start by just lining the bottom of my brows. So in a general rule of thumb of where you start and end your brows too, you typically start from the edge of your nose into your inner corner of your eye straight up, like this straight line, and from the edge of your nose to the end of your eye straight out is where you will kind of end. That's just the general rule of thumb of how to do your brows. That hopefully that's a good tip if you guys, your brows are a little bit more in or out, and you can kind of figure out where to start or end if you have no idea. So when I do the top line, I'm not going to start all the way on the inside because we want to feather that up. So I'm going to start up here. And if your brows are a little bit darker, you might end up starting with the darker color versus the lighter color, but I like, for the most part, just using this lighter color. So now I'm going to take more and start feathering up and over kind of the way my brows want to go. Okay, now that I got my brow shape filled in, I'm going to go back to the spoolie and start brushing this out. The light to medium motion up and over. And then if I see that I missed some areas right in the middle, I can go back through with some of that lighter color. Okay, so now I like to just define the bottom a little bit with the dark color. This is just my preference. I just like to have the bottom line a little bit sharper than the top a little bit more faded out. So just using a tiny bit of product, lining it and pulling it up, the product up a little bit. Okay, and I did go down a little too far there. So my favorite part of this palette is this pink part. It's not as pink as it looks, okay? It's not as crazy pink. I'm just gonna kind of wipe out this brush. This is when I'm gonna use the flat side. This is like amazing. It's a highlighting aspect for under your brows to define it, and plus it's kind of like a corrector because it's cream. So if you go too far down by accident, you can fix it. So I'm just gonna shape out the bottom of my brow. Okay, so now that I got that sharpened and defined, I'm gonna kind of wipe off the brush and then kind of pull some of that color down to blend it out. There we go, got a little bit of that highlighted, that defined, so you can just stick with the matte highlight if you want. Most days that's what I do, but this shimmer highlight's really awesome too. So I usually use both the highlights together. Like if I use the shimmer, I like to use the matte first too. But this shimmer, I do like to use my finger. I'm gonna kind of warm it up in my finger. You can see this gorgeous gold shimmer. And I'm just gonna put a little bit under this part of my brow, not all the way in the inside. Kind of blend it out. You could use a brush, I just like to use my finger usually. Taking away a little bit of the brow color, there we go. And hopefully you can see that just gives that gorgeous little bit of highlight. Right now I have powder foundation on, but if you have like a liquid foundation or something, this would be really pretty as a shimmer highlight through here with powder. I don't know if I want to put cream on top of it personally, but you can see right under my brow how pretty that is. Can you see like the difference a brow makes? Like it just feels like, I mean, I still have to do the rest of my face, but I feel like it just completes my face a little bit more, okay? Like, and plus I can give myself a little bit of that arch on purpose, which kind of like lifts your eyebrows up, you know, lifts your eyes, kind of instant eye lift type thing. But I have like no brows and I love looking like I have some kind of brows. I know brows is a huge trend right now. Hopefully this has helped you with tips on just how to apply your brows in general, of how to use this palette, because I know it looks intimidating. But if you have any questions, definitely comment below. If you like this brow palette, comment brow palette below. It can help you figure out which colors are best for you or help give you any more tips. But thanks for watching. Please hit the share button and I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.